All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Monday, September 16th. All right, we're halfway through the last month in the third quarter. All right, which is there's a lot of good things about that. I think every one of you should have your business plan done for next year by October 1. So you got that 90 days, the fourth quarter, to start acting, walking, and talking and being the person you need to be in order to achieve your goal next year. It does two things. It turns next year into a 15-month year because you have serious momentum and helps you finish really strong this year. All right, but with no further ado, from the St. Rose office, we have Rebecca Ewing. Rebecca, welcome to the show. All right, hit *6 on your phone, and then we can hear you.
Good morning.
There you are. All right. So, hey, we haven't. I've had you on before, but not for a while. So, give them a little idea of who you are and how long you've been doing this, all that good stuff, please.
Okay. So my name is Rebecca Ewing. I go by Becky. I joined the St. Rose office in 2020. So I'm actually just started my 5th year if you go by anniversary date. My background is I was pre-med. So I have a bachelor's in biology. I applied to medical school. After working in healthcare for almost 10 years since I was 15, I realized I didn't want to be a doctor. So I went back and got a master's in business admin at Roseman and thought I was going to work in healthcare, and then left that business degree realizing I like business. And so after taking care of my terminally ill father for a year, I got my real estate license. And I actually realized at that time that I could make real estate a business. I thought it was beneath me. And then I met somebody who really kind of knocked my socks off, and he made me believe like he could run it like a business, and I could be a present parent and have an amazing career. So that was my journey here.
Awesome. I love it. I think I know what you're talking about, but I'm just curious, what was it about the difference between the two, healthcare or business? What was it that really sparked you to go from one to the other?
So I think a lot of people in healthcare, right, their families, you're bred into it. So my whole family's in healthcare. And so I always believed that the hard sciences was really the only way that you could be challenged in life. And what I realized after working in healthcare for almost a decade was that you had to put your patient's needs above your own at all times. There was no calling in sick. And I got burnt out on the boundaries of not having a life. And so like a lot of real estate agents say, running your own business, you went from a 40-hour-a-week job to a 90-hour-a-week job. But I do love the business aspect. Just appealed to my brain in the reality that I would clock in, right, every day. Even if I was a physician, right, you clock in and you have a set pay and you have to work, which is why so many of them work 90 hours a week to make X amount of dollars. I don't have to work 90 hours a week to make X amount of dollars in real estate. I just have to be good at it, and it can fit into the cracks of my life. When you clock into the EOR, you don't leave. You can't go get your kid from school. You can't go pick up your kid if they're sick and continue to work. You have to be there or you get no paycheck. And so I started to believe, and I started to love finance, right? So I love finance. Rick knows I talk a lot about markets and statistics, and by his, if you've done the personality test, right, I'm a driver analytical. So I love numbers. I didn't realize that there was that part of me until I got into business school that I actually really enjoy, and I didn't allow myself to study that until I got there. So real estate's perfect for that. I get to constantly, look at what's going on in the market and apply it to people and help them with that.
Yeah, that's a great explanation. I love it. And it's so true because, one job's more linear, time equals money as far as hourly, and unless you get into the bonus program, overtime. But in real estate, your hourly rate can be gigantic if you're willing to spend time in the areas that cause you to make the most money. And, one of the things that you have a decent sphere of influence too, which really helped you and it really helps your business today too, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. Sphere, I had to be taught early on that my sphere is also working, and how to capture that, because I came in like a lot of agents and I was like, contacts and calls and door knocking, and I still do a lot of that. But, when I don't make my contacts there, I have to also give myself credit for that coffee date or that lunch date or that baby shower. Like I had to, as easy as it sounds now as an agent, when I go to somebody's birthday party or baby shower, there's times where I'm like, hey, this is a point for me to connect and make people feel like they're important to me, and this is part of my job. So, once I changed my mindset to that, it really helped.
Good. Excellent. I love it. I love it. Yeah, because, you have a few children, and you have to really schedule your time out effectively, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I have 5 daughters from the ages of 6 to 15. So I am not out of that phase of life. And, so telling, when I started and I thought my hours had to be fixed, I was really discouraged, because people are like, it's, you'll meet people or coaches, or they'll tell you, oh, if you just do X, Y, and Z, you'll do great. And it's like, well, I can't do X, Y, and Z the way you do it. So I'm an extreme time blocker, Rick knows. If I say I am calling for an hour, I am not talking to other people at the office. I am calling for an hour. If I say I am door knocking every Friday from 8 to noon, which is what I usually do, I'll door knock on a weekday, usually on a Friday, hoping people are home. I do that, right? I don't reschedule, and I try to partner with people for accountability, because I love to stick to a schedule. And I am a people pleaser when it comes to that. So if I tell you I'm going to meet you at 8 a.m. to door knock, I absolutely will be there. And I will not schedule other things during that time, because discipline is a huge part of this job, because it's easy to say I'm working, sitting from the couch, binging Netflix and surfing the MLS. So. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I agree. No, you definitely are disciplined, and a lot of it was your journey. Like you came in and you started off in my coaching in groups of 4, and then into individual, and so well, tell them a little about that. I think it'd be good for them to hear about your journey, and part of it frustrating and part of it wonderful and all that good stuff.
Okay, so I did my first year alone. I started with Rick right away. I got my license in August of 2020, and then I went into coaching. I think it was October 2020, after taking Success Series. And I did a full calendar year till August of the next year, and it was really frustrating. It was really lonely. I didn't feel like I was connecting at the office. I didn't feel like I was a part of anything. So I joined a team. That was not really established yet, and it was somebody who became a friend of mine, and he was killing it. He was Rookie of the Year, and he really helped me feel like I kind of earned that confidence, right? Really kind of, we did the role play, we called together, and that year ended up being top 25 in the company. No, that year was top 50, and the next year we were top 25. And so we had great synergy, and it, helped me build my confidence. And then I broke away from the team at the end of 2023. And I've been solo this year. And this year, I'm stayed somewhere in the top 15 to top 10 at the St. Rose office, because, I grind, but I also, I attribute a lot of that to that time I had with the team in building those skills. And then this year, I've been highly involved in the last year too with the social committee. It's a group of women who are also in the top 25. Always, they're a team or they're individual, and they're always on that list. And they've kind of kept me grounded. We've all have the same focus, and that's been a part of my success, is surrounding yourself with successful people too.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely. And you bang it out. You make your contacts. You talk to people, fill your pipeline, go on appointments. You do all the things that we're supposed to be doing. And then you also enjoy, because I know I've been involved with a couple of you with breast cancer, you also enjoy giving back too. Tell them a little about that, please.
Yeah, I do. I love giving back. That's a big part of what keeps me going. As far as, I mean, if I'm doing this just for money, I'm going to lose interest really quick, because money is not everything that fills your heart and your spirit. I mean, obviously I have a family outside of this, but giving back with that social committee has been something that kind of re-sparked my love for philanthropy. That's something I've always been in part of. I've always volunteered. But really seeing what we can do as realtors, the amount of money that we've raised in the last 9 months, I think is upwards of $60,000 or $70,000 for breast cancer, for KIPA scholarships for homeless youth. And it's just, it keeps me, that, it kind of checks another one of those boxes in your life where it's not just, I'm not just coming to the office for a paycheck, but I'm also doing something better.
Right. Agreed. It's also, it's extremely fulfilling for you, because like you said, it's not just about the money. It's also about, because we are, I like to look at like a wheel, like like we're a wheel, we have spokes that make up our life, and they have to each get tension, or, it's a very, very, wobbly ride. So your personal life, your spirituality, your health, your family, your mindset, all of those things are critically important, aren't they?
Yes. I mean, because even though I've been in the business only 5 years, I'm not as young maybe as some other people. I mean, I know a lot of people start this career as a second career. I started it in my 30s, and I was already aware of work burnout. As I told you, I'd already experienced work burnout in my other career. And then this one, I started to experience burnout towards the end of 2022. And so I had to really refocus, and getting part of that social committee, and I also got pretty heavily involved in Women's Council of Realtors, and just doing things that they are quote unquote work related, but they check off that fun box. When you're a driver and analytical like me, fun is not a box. You have to remind yourself. Rochelle and I talk regularly, and we have probably the closest personalities in the office in a lot of ways, and I have to remind myself, like, hey, fun is important. That it's okay to do things that are not just going to get you a lead, right? Because a lot of people tell me things like, I don't want to join that committee or this thing because I have so much work to do. For my first reaction is like, so do I, right? I want to be like offended. But the other side of that is like, I'm sorry you don't realize that like part of our job to not get burnt out is doing things that are job related, that are check a little bit of that fun box, but I'm also still working, right? Because I still network with those people. I might do deals with those people. It really helps me stay with my ear to the ground. I learn things from these people. And so when I was able to remove that judgment about, I have to always just be grinding on the phone or knocking or calling or scheduling, it's helped me kind of release a little bit of that pressure valve.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, it's so true. And I everybody does it in different ways. I do it in vacations, and some people, you're right. It's like going to the gym. You can't live in the gym. You go to the gym an hour and a half, whatever, a day, 3 days a week, 5 days a week, whatever. The recovery time, the sleeping, the proper nutrition, right? And it's the same thing with your business. You can't be on all the time because you'll burn out. You have to, part of being successful is resting, enjoying, having fun. I mean, the old saying, you're only on the planet once. I mean, so you've got to enjoy the process at the same time. And you're no value to your family and friends around you if you're constantly working anyway, especially with you with 5 daughters. I mean, yeah. That alone is, by the way, your husband, he's outnumbered. I mean, I feel for him.
Yeah. He has a high stress career too, right? So he's a VP of a company that manages all the construction on the Strip. They do a lot of bars and nightclubs. So he doesn't have a career that's going to fill in the gaps either, right? So we also do take a lot of vacations. We're going to Cabo at the end of November too, because we also have to unplug. Yeah. So
Cabo's
yeah,
awesome.
Exercise is another one, right? I feel like I have probably a lot more spokes sometimes than a lot of people, but I feel like I have to do it all to stay focused. Nutrition, it's it's a balancing act. I think with other jobs, people can clock out and they can leave their job at work, and we can't. And that causes a lot of burnout in our career.
Yes, definitely. No doubt about it. All right. And I think you know this. All right. But we have a call clinic, which I haven't done in a long time, at your office tomorrow morning. Hopefully you'll be around.
Yeah. It just came out in the schedule. I'm excited to see you do it. I mean, I'd love to see Rick on the call there. Yeah, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I haven't done one of those in a long time. Amanda asked me to. As a matter of fact, she texted me, just so you know, while we were doing this call, to make sure you're coming
awesome.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
I said,
I'll go to the call clinic. I have a hard time, like I say to Rick, like we both have a little bit of ADHD. He always has to close his classroom door because if he sees people walk by, he wants to talk to them. And I'm the same way. If I call around too many people, after a while, I start listening to their conversations, and I'm not actually calling. But I'll definitely show up for a little bit.
All right, cool. Yeah, no, it's going to be a blast. I haven't done one in a while. I'm going to do a little intro, get everybody started. But to me, the art of it's an art. Prospecting is an art, as you've discovered, because you went through your frustrating phase, you got better at it, and I think sometimes we try a little too hard at first, and you role played, and so tell us a little about how do you do most of yours? Over the phone, face to face, a combination of both?
It's a combo of both. I haven't been doing as much as I used to because I've been doing a lot more referral-based business, but I do mostly over the phone, right? Where a lot of people say I don't have time. I'm like, everybody has time to drive from school drop-off to the time I get to the office is when I would schedule role play calls, right? And so I would have role play partners. We role play back and forth 20, 30 minutes, and then we're done. And then I think it's important when you're new, though, to do face-to-face listing presentations. And currently with the documents changing, I've talked to a few people about doing new IBRA role plays because there's a lot of fear. And when you remove that fear, you do amazing and you knock it out of the park because usually my role play partner is going to be a lot harder on me than somebody else face to face, right? And so once I've heard the worst of it, I can navigate anything else. I mean, the science part of me, right, says that when you remove that fight or flight, I understand how the brain works, right? You remove that fight or flight, you become calmer, your nervous system relaxes, and you don't freeze up, and your brain doesn't go blank because now you've practiced it, and that was such a huge part of my business.
I agree. You have to, when they say something, you have to be prepared. And like I always tell people in my coaching, whenever they say something and you don't know what to say, write it down, bring it to the coaching call, because there's always a response. And sometimes it's, I don't know, but it's better than, I don't know. I'll find out and get back to you. It's a perfect way to set up your next contact as well. But yeah, it requires confidence and competence to be on the phone or face to face, because remember, we're asking people for their time. We all need to understand this. When you get on the phone or you go door knocking, you're asking people for their time. All right. So called soliciting. And in order to, I think, make that valuable, you have to be good. Or as I jokingly say, at least entertaining, right? For them to grab their attention and to want to speak to you. And there's a pattern and a way to do that, which we can learn. Everybody can learn how to do it. And then I think what you're talking about is once you get that down and you can converse with the best of them, that's when you start getting better results.
Absolutely. And, what always stuck with me from coaching was being semi-stalkerish, right? Because I've listed 3 homes on the same street by just keeping up with the neighbors, right? I listed $1 million house off of door dropping. I've listed $600,000 house off of door dropping just because I don't leave before the miracle happens or until they tell you don't contact you anymore, right? Until they're like 100% do not call me anymore. But after you've had 20 conversations with somebody, because it might take longer. I don't love expireds, but I love just listed, just sold. And those take longer, right? It might take me 2 years to convert that lead, but that's okay. Like that is okay. For me, that is supplemental business to my SOI. And so usually by the time I go to list with somebody, I had one person call me and like I said, semi-stalkerish she's like, hey, you've left me so many voicemails and like, I just love your tenacity. I'm ready to sell. Can you come over so I can sign the contract?
Nice.
And that to me is just, the proof in the pudding of you got to make the hard call first, but the rest of them is like calling a friend after, if you make a good first impression.
Right. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. It's the person that called. Like I used to buy these vitamins years ago online, and I mistakenly bought them from 2 different companies. And because I'm a consumer, I think of myself, and whoever happened to call me at the right time when I was in my car or had a minute, I would reorder from. So if I had 2 agents doing it, it would be the one that happened to call me at the right time. But very few agents have what you just described, which is the tenacity, the intestinal fortitude to keep going, because that's why I renamed it semi-stalker lead follow-up, because, it's not just lead follow-up. When done properly, at first, it feels semi-stalker because you think, I would never deal with a friend or a family member this way. Well, but you're not trying to win them over. You already won them over, most of them anyway, right? It's winning over somebody new, and they have lives, they have things going on. They're not thinking of you all the time. And you have to continue to do that. It's such an important point, too.
Yes, definitely.
All right, cool. All right, so give me your top 3. In order to be successful in this business, give me your top 3 things that you would tell them to focus on, please.
Number 1 for me is always going to be time blocking, and actually do it, right? Have somebody who knows your schedule and asks you, are you going to door knock today? Are you going to do that open house? Whatever it is you do for business, how many coffee dates did you make? You have to have other people know your schedule so you actually stick to it. Number 2, something that I recently have added into my top 3 is doing something that makes me enjoy my business, right? Like I said, with my group of women that keep me motivated, that's really helped me keep my mind set straight. And then 3 would be, I don't know. What do you think, Rick? I mean, you've known me a long time. What do you think was?
I think your semi-stalker lead follow-up is huge.
Semi-stalker lead follow-up. Yeah, we'll put that. I mean, those 3 have been the biggest components to my success, I would think. Definitely.
Time blocking, meaning, you have that time. Like you said, you described it perfectly earlier. I have the time. I've time blocked it in. I'm going to follow it. Now, we're not all perfect at first, but eventually. Then surround yourself with people that have similar goals or even bigger than yours. That's such a great, and for you, it's a women's group. That's great. I think it's great. You talk to people, can bounce stuff off. You have different types of conversations. And then in your business, massive semi-stalker lead follow-up so nobody gets through the cracks. And like you said, the woman even said to you, I've never met anybody with tenacity like you. And that's what you want. I mean, the people that have to sell love that, or really want to sell and they want top dollar. They remember that. That's why I keep telling people, when you call old expireds, even when they don't answer the phone all the time, they see your phone number. They eventually get to know it's you. They know it's you, and then eventually they pick up the phone. Okay, I'm ready now, or they'll find you. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that same, type of situation. So good. All right, cool. I really appreciate you taking your time out there, Rebecca. Any final words you want to leave these lovely people?
I think no matter where you are in business, beginning or the end of, your career with this, have fun with it, enjoy the time with the people that you have, and, remember, this career is a means to, the way I see it, it's a means to help people. When I put that vision first, the money comes.
Yeah. Okay. Definitely. It's such and you mentioned it earlier, it's such an interesting business too, because you really get paid what you're worth. And the more confident you get, the higher your hourly rate gets based on your results. And that's such a good point to remember too in this business. Work on your confidence. I'm not talking about cockiness, I'm talking about confidence, which is totally different. But when they can feel that you know what you're talking about, and they can feel that if I need to sell my house, this is the person to do it. And that just takes time, practice, like you said, time, practice, drill, rehearse, and you become great at it.
Absolutely, and I have a lot of that to thank you for. So thank you again
Well,
for all your coaching.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. You're so kind. And I just want to say,
take your coaching. You should.
All right.
But if
you heard it, folks.
Coaching, you should get in. Yep.
If you're not in coaching, jump in. All you have to do is email my assistant, Lisa P. at bhhsnv.com. I have a few spots open right now, as a matter of fact. Well, Rebecca, thank you. I really appreciate you taking your time out today.
Thanks, Rick. I appreciate it. We'll see you around.
All right. See you soon. All right. See you tomorrow. All right, everybody. We'll see you.
See you tomorrow.
Thanks for your
Okay.
time. Bye-bye now.